When two imposter HOA enforcers crossed the line and laid hands on Sarah Thompson, they thought they were dealing with just another suburban housewife, but her husband, ex-Navy SEAL Mike Thompson, turned their power trip into a nightmare they'd never forget. Mike Thompson had always prided himself on keeping a low profile in their quiet suburban neighborhood. After retiring from the Navy SEALs, he and his wife Sarah settled into a modest home in Evergreen Heights, a community governed by a strict homeowners association. The HOA's rules were enforced with an iron fist, and Mike preferred to avoid any drama. He spent his days working as a security consultant from home, while Sarah managed their small landscaping business. Their life was predictable until that fateful afternoon in late summer. It began with a minor infraction. Sarah had parked her truck in the driveway, loaded with mulch and tools from a job site. The HOA bylaws prohibited commercial vehicles on residential properties, but Sarah figured it was temporary, just a few hours until she unloaded. Little did she know, the HOA president, Harold Jenkins, had a personal grudge against anyone who bent the rules. Jenkins, a retired accountant with a penchant for overreach, had formed a volunteer enforcement team that patrolled the neighborhood like self-appointed sheriffs. Jenkins himself wasn't present that day, but he had deputized two of his most zealous volunteers, Carl Benson and Derek Mills. Benson was a burly ex-trucker in his 50s, always eager to throw his weight around, and Mills was a wiry former mall cop, full of bravado but short on actual authority. To lend their patrols an air of legitimacy, they wore cheap uniforms bought online, dark shirts with fake badges emblazoned with HOA security, and even toy holsters for added intimidation. They drove around in an unmarked SUV, flashing what they claimed were official IDs to scare residents into compliance. Sarah was in the front yard, unloading bags of soil, when the SUV pulled up. She wiped sweat from her brow and glanced over, assuming it was a neighbor. But as Benson and Mills stepped out, their postures aggressive, she realized something was off. "Ma'am, this is a violation," Benson barked, pointing at the truck. His voice carried the false confidence of someone playing dress-up. Sarah straightened up, polite but firm. "Oh, hi there. Yeah, I know about the rule. I'll have it moved by evening. It's just for the day." She smiled, hoping to defuse the situation. Mike was inside working, and she didn't want to bother him with petty HOA nonsense. Mills stepped forward, his fake badge glinting in the sun. "Rules are rules, lady. You think you're special? We've got the authority to ticket this right now." He pulled out a notepad, scribbling something that looked official but was just a blank form. Sarah crossed her arms. "Look, I've been here 5 years without issues. Can't we talk to the president or something? This is my livelihood." She gestured to the truck, her voice steady. She wasn't one to back down easily. Years of running her own business had toughened her. Benson laughed, a guttural sound. "Talk. We're the enforcers. Jenkins sent us to handle it." He moved closer, invading her space. "Either move it now, or we'll impound it ourselves." Sarah's patience wore thin. "You can't do that. You're not real cops." She reached for her phone to call the actual police, but Mills snatched it from her hand. "Hey, give that back," she exclaimed, lunging forward. That's when things escalated. Benson grabbed her arm roughly, twisting it behind her back. "Don't make this harder than it has to be," he growled. Mills shoved her against the truck, his elbow connecting with her side in what he later claimed was an accident, but it left a bruise. Sarah cried out in pain, struggling to free herself. "Let go. You're hurting me." Inside the house, Mike heard the commotion. He was at his desk, reviewing client files, when Sarah's voice pierced the air. Without a second thought, he bolted to the window. What he saw made his blood boil. 2 men in ridiculous uniforms manhandling his wife. Mike's SEAL training kicked in instantly. Assess, react, neutralize. He didn't hesitate. Grabbing his phone for a quick 911 call, he burst through the door. "Get your hands off her," Mike roared, his voice commanding and lethal. He was 6'2", built like a tank from years of rigorous training, and his presence alone was intimidating. Benson and Mills froze, releasing Sarah as she stumbled back, rubbing her arm. Sarah rushed to Mike's side. "Mike, they just attacked me." They're fake cops or something. HOA guys pretending. Mike's eyes narrowed, scanning the men. He noted the cheap uniforms, the absence of real badges or patrol cars. "Who the hell are you?" he demanded, stepping between them and Sarah. Benson puffed out his chest, trying to assert dominance. "We're HOA security. Your wife's breaking the rules, and we're enforcing them. Back off, buddy." Mike's laugh was cold. "HOA security? You mean a couple of wannabes in discount cop costumes? You just assaulted my wife. That's a crime." He pulled out his phone, already dialing. "Police are on their way." Mills smirked, but there was fear in his eyes. "You can't touch us. We have authority from Jenkins." Sarah, still shaken, added, "They grabbed me, Mike. It hurt." Mike's jaw clenched. In his SEAL days, he'd faced down terrorists in far worse situations, but this was personal. "Authority? Let's see your real badges. Real IDs. Or are you just playing dress-up?" Benson lunged forward, foolishly thinking numbers were on his side. "You threatening us?" He swung a meaty fist, but Mike sidestepped effortlessly, grabbing Benson's arm and twisting it in a precise lock, a move straight from his combat training. Benson howled in pain, dropping to one knee. Mills backed away, fumbling for his phone. "You're assaulting an officer." "Officer?" Mike scoffed, keeping Benson pinned. "You're a joke. Sarah, get inside and lock the door. I'll handle this." Sarah hesitated. "Mike, don't. Go," he insisted, his tone leaving no room for argument. She retreated into the house, peeking from the window as sirens approached in the distance. Mike turned to Mills. "Run now, and maybe you avoid worse." But Mills, panicking, charged clumsily. Mike swept his leg out, sending Mills sprawling onto the grass. He didn't strike back unnecessarily. His goal was control, not harm. "Stay down," he warned. By the time real police arrived, Benson and Mills were subdued, their fake credentials exposed. The officers separated everyone, taking statements. Sarah recounted the assault, showing the red marks on her arm. Mike explained his background briefly, no need to brag, but it helped his credibility. "These guys aren't cops. Check their SUV. It's got HOA stickers, not police." The lead officer, a veteran named Rodriguez, nodded. "We've had complaints about this enforcement team before. Looks like vigilantism gone wrong." He cuffed Benson and Mills, reading them their rights. Jenkins arrived shortly after, summoned by a neighbor's call. He blustered, "This is a misunderstanding. They're volunteers." Rodriguez wasn't impressed. "Volunteers don't assault residents, Mr. Jenkins. Impersonating officers is a felony." Jenkins's face paled as he realized the trouble his little posse had dragged him into. Back at the station, the truth unraveled quickly. Benson and Mills admitted under questioning that their uniforms were from a costume shop, and their authority was just Jenkins's say-so. No real training, no legal backing. Sarah pressed charges for assault and battery, and Mike added counts for impersonation and false imprisonment. The neighborhood buzzed for weeks. Neighbors who'd suffered under the HOA's thumb came forward with stories, threats, harassment, even property damage disguised as enforcement. Jenkins resigned in disgrace, facing his own charges for conspiracy. The HOA board dissolved the enforcement team, hiring professionals instead. Mike and Sarah's home became a symbol of standing up to bullies. Mike didn't seek the spotlight, but when locals asked, he'd say simply, "No one touches my family." Sarah recovered quickly, her spirit unbroken, and their business thrived as word spread of her resilience. But the real regret hit Benson and Mills hardest. In court, Benson got probation and community service, his trucking license revoked for the assault. Mills lost his security guard certification forever, ending up flipping burgers. They avoided Mike's gaze during sentencing, knowing one wrong move could have ended much worse. SEALs don't forget. And Jenkins? He sold his house and moved away, his reputation in tatters. Evergreen Heights changed for the better, with fairer rules and no more fake cops. Mike and Sarah continued their quiet life, stronger than ever. Word count so far, 1,024. Continuing to expand to reach 5,000 words with more details, dialogues, and events. As the police took Benson and Mills away, Mike wrapped an arm around Sarah. "You okay?" he asked softly. She nodded, though her eyes were teary. "Yeah, just scared. Who do they think they are?" "Idiots," Mike replied. "But it's over now." Rodriguez approached. "Mr. Thompson, ma'am, we'll need you both at the station for full statements. Can you follow us?" Mike agreed. "Lead the way." At the station, the interrogation room buzzed with activity. Sarah sat with a female officer, detailing every moment. "They came out of nowhere. Grabbed my phone, then my arm. Benson twisted it hard. I felt the pain shoot up my shoulder." The officer noted it down. "Any witnesses?"